What's up, brewskis? My name is Marco Dupa. With me, as always, the great, the powerful, it's Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Hey, buddies.
Tonight's brew is from the OEC Brewing Company. Yet again, this time we have their Altbier, and Adam will have a little bit more about that after the break. What do we have for you guys today? A little bit of a recap. We told you that we would give you the update, or we would talk about more in depth Netflix.
Yeah.
And how things are going over there.
We ran out of time last time, so.
Spoiler alert, not great.
Mm.
And also we have an update on the Wops Hops saga. If you're local or if you listen to, two episodes back. That was 2 episodes back,
I think
right?
so.
It was 2 episodes back.
They blend together.
You'll know that we addressed some local news, and we have a bit of an update on that. So we're going to talk about that. And finally, Doctor Strange, or more importantly, or larger rather, Disney. There is some LGBTQ references in the movie itself, which sounds really stupid to even frame it that way.
To have to announce.
There's a homosexual character or side character or some kind, I don't know.
Yeah.
And apparently Disney has finally bucked up and they're taking a stand. They're taking a stand.
I wonder why. I wonder what pushed them to do that, finally.
Yeah. So we'll get into that and maybe some more. But before that, we just got to crack open these brewskis. This is episode 352 of the One Beer In podcast.
Oh, yeah. Shit, that's a good one.
Lost to be found by someone to save you when you're down. Yes, I'm bored when it's bright out.
This is fermenting my oak, if you know what I mean.
When it's bright out. 4 to 5 a.m.
Maybe I'll put this on just.
Takes me to a place where
Drop it out right during that joke.
All right, this is the One Beer In podcast, the podcast where 2 brews crack open a brew, and we see where that one brew takes us. As I said, thank you guys for listening, liking, sharing, subscribing, all that jazz. You know the deal.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a lot to get into, but before we can do all that, we have to get more into this beer. So, Obi, please tell the people a little bit more about what we're drinking tonight.
Well, as you introed with, this is the OEC Oak Fermented Altbier German Brown Ale, and it's a 4.8% ABV. I do, fortunately, have a cold read for you.
Hell yeah, brother.
It goes as follows. Cool shipped and oak fermented. Our oak fermented alt beer is brewed using a traditional German step infusion mash and hopped with Spalt Select hops. Fermentation starts in open tanks for 1 week, followed by oak for an additional 3 weeks. It is then cold matured for 4 weeks prior to packaging. www.oecbrewing.com.
All right.
Product of USA.
OEC, they've been doing a lot of good stuff so far. So
Ordinum eccentrici coctoris. That's what OEC stands for, if you're curious.
don't sleep. Don't sleep. Okay, so let's get into this recap. I'm gonna, maybe add us down there.
Yeah.
Nice little- First things first. Let's talk about Wops Hops. Let's just get that out of the way.
Sure.
'Cause
Local news.
So Wops Hops, a local tap room, very local.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get more local than a place like Wops Hops.
It's kind of a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
In a very, nice, popular area of Sanford, downtown Sanford.
Yes. And if you remember from a couple episodes ago, they got in a little bit of trouble, a little bit of a PR nightmare for this local place.
Yeah.
They had a blonde ale that they were releasing, and they had a misfortunate name and logo for it.
Yeah.
They wanted to call it a 20-year-old blonde.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to have a busty blonde. Unfortunately, I know we said that we would post a picture on that episode, but I looked it up and it was just like that
tiny stamp.
And I couldn't do anything with it
They
make it.
essentially wiped the internet of the image.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And so yeah, they wiped the internet. They removed everything pertaining to that beer from their social media.
Yeah.
And then they put every woman that works there front and center for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then they tried to go business as usual.
Sure.
And there are... Let's just say that didn't work.
What did we predict on the show? If somebody missed the episode in which we talked about it.
You definitely said almost play-by-play what was going to happen here. And it has happened.
Yeah.
It has happened.
Yeah.
And so a couple of weeks goes by of them pretending like nothing has gone on. Every post has at least one or two people, sometimes more, making a joke about the fact that they're ignoring things or just outright calling them out for ignoring and not making any kind of public statement.
Sure.
And then finally, 2.5 weeks after all of this controversy shook out, we have our Notes app apology.
Yes.
So, Obi, do you want to just read it?
Sure. We're sorry.
We're sorry.
Recently, it was brought to our attention that the name of one of our latest brews offended some of our favorite people. In retrospect...
The chicks.
Yeah, chicks, man. In retrospect, the two old farts who own this brewery messed up and should have known better. So there's no dancing around it. It sucked, and we apologize. Obviously, the beer needs to be renamed and should pay tribute to the powerful and motivating women who have influenced our lives, now generations before and generations to come. Comment below or DM us with your suggested renames of our new light blonde raspberry ale. Keep an inspired woman in mind as you do. A donation in the amount of $500 will be made to the charity of your choice in the winner's name. To all of you who reached out to us and made your voices heard, thank you. We support your expression and your opinions, and we listen. We will do better. Cheers to you, Greg, Pete, and the entire Wops Hops team. Thanks and cheers. Followed by their address.
Which one is the WAP? Greg or Pete?
Didn't you say? I thought you said his name.
Did I?
I thought you did.
Maybe.
I thought you identified the
Was it
quote
Greg?
unquote WAP.
I think it might be Greg.
Okay.
I don't know.
One of them is.
Well,
I feel uncomfortable naming one of them the
Yeah.
WAP if they're not.
yeah, I'm not going to call either one of them the WAP
Yeah.
until we can confirm which one indeed is the WAP.
Mhm.
So there you have it, folks. That's how these things go
Sure.
nowadays.
And mind you, the comments section, my friend.
Can you guess what's going on with the comment section?
The comments section.
There's only two ways this could have gone.
Yeah. Well, okay. So it was first a handful of people saying, "Oh, thank you. That's really appreciated. You did the right thing. Finally an answer. Finally a response to this."
Mm-hmm.
And then a mountain, a Mount Everest of mostly dudes going in and going, "I don't see the problem with it. You shouldn't apologize. Why are you apologizing?" There was one comment that I actually agree with 100%, which is if it was like aged for 20 years or something like that, it would make sense.
Yeah.
But the 20-year thing throws you off immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my initial reaction to it. I thought it was an aged blonde.
What's the point of 20 years? Specifically, it's very weirdly specific.
Yeah. It's just purely misogynistic. I mean, I hate to just like go there and just flat out just like there's no other.
Well, I'm I'm like genuinely curious about the decision making here, because it's like, did somebody at first workshop like, what about the 18-year-old blonde? And they're like, whoa.
Jesus Christ, Greg, what's wrong with you?
We're not monsters here, okay? 19? Still a teenager.
Still teen.
Okay,
technically.
look, it's 2022. She's not going to be a teen. We'll make her 20.
She's got to be an adult.
She's got to be 20 years
We're
old.
all adults here. She has to
Right.
be an adult.
Is that how they landed on it? Because, again, it would make perfect sense. Not perfect sense, but it'd make more sense if it was 21-year-old, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Drinking
it would,
age,
I guess
right?
it'd make you feel a little bit better about it.
I mean, at least there's some kind of cognitive connective tissue here. Work with me, guys.
No, honestly, I don't think there was a thought at all. I think somebody thought it was funny. I think that's the only thought that was. Somebody just probably just blurted it out. Like, what should we call this blonde ale?
Yeah.
Fucking, 20-year-old blonde, just like the WAP likes them. Am I right, guys? They all fucking.
Yeah.
And then they probably just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Let's just do that. Why
Yeah.
not? I don't think that there's. I don't think there was any kind of roundtable discussion on this. I hope not. I hope that there wasn't.
Yeah.
Because that would honestly make this even worse.
That'd be more tragic if there was actual thought put into this.
Yeah.
So almost needless to say, there was a lot of infighting in the comment section. Some people, actually, I saw multiple comments saying, "Wow, like seeing the responses to this is showing what your clientele is."
Yeah.
And like I am completely turned off from your brewery now, like forever. Obviously, a lot of support, a lot of misogyny. I'm sorry to say, but inevitably, and this is going to come. They ended up cutting out all the comments.
They turned them off.
Turned it completely off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where we are now. Comments are off.
I don't know how. Is this the latest post? They haven't posted since.
They haven't posted since. We're sitting on it.
I don't know how. I mean, I'm not defending WAPs hops at all, but I just don't know how you can be surprised that is the clientele base of WAPs hops. You know what I mean? Like I'm not prejudging every single person that walks into that building.
We walked into that building.
I was just about, exactly.
Yeah.
So
multiple times.
I'm not saying that it's every single person there, but what I'm saying is that is the vibe of the place.
Sure.
It is. It's vibe.
Older. It's, kind of.
Dog, in the fucking apology, they're like, the two old farts that run this place, they're a little behind the times. And we're really sorry about that. Sure. And it's like, I mean, that. Not to defend the place, but like that. Yeah. It's a couple of old white dudes that run the place.
This is not boomer erasure, okay?
No. It's just it is what it is.
Yeah,
it's like
what it is.
When a place like that is run for so long by a couple of old dudes, like a joke like that is gonna fly under the radar sometimes. Like honestly, if we weren't living in this post Me Too, like if this was like 5 years ago, nobody would have said a thing.
Oh, no.
I mean, people probably would have saw it on the draft list and been like, that's gross.
Yeah.
But nobody would have said anything. And,
Sure.
and it's a good thing that people are saying things so that like changes can be made and people can rethink. Because I don't believe that you are ever too old to rethink or to reconfigure your line of thinking.
Yeah.
I think the idea that, hey man, he's 70. What do you want him to do? It's like, that's bullshit.
The second you stop learning is the second you die.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
if you should die.
Whoa!
I'm just saying. If you're gonna sit up here and tell me that, hey, look, he's an old guy. What do you want me to do?
Right.
Die. That's what I want him to do. I'm done with him.
All right.
If we're gotten to a point. And this is pure ageism, and I don't care.
It is, yeah.
By the way, stone cold sober right now, okay? So these thoughts and opinions are mine and mine alone. I do not represent the podcast. I represent myself.
Thank you.
What I'm saying is kill yourself. No, I'm kidding.
Wow.
I'm kidding. I'm joking. Kind of, not really. What I'm saying is I just don't buy into the excuse that they're old and they're stuck in their ways.
You clapped when those old people died in Midsummer.
Yeah.
they jumped off and they were going, and you go,
yeah. Did you see that dude's face? Smash it with that big old hammer.
Spoilers for Midsummer. Mm-hmm. Midsommar, if you will.
Midsommar. No, I'm kidding. You know, I'm not telling anybody to kill themselves. I'm just
Don't hurt yourself.
It's
please.
just upsetting to. It's just like, you know,
It's annoying. It's
yeah,
frustrating.
the misogyny and racism and things like that, where the excuse is that they're old and so, you know, they should get a pass for that.
Mhm.
It's like, people, you know, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You know you're wrong. You know that you know that the idea of that is taboo and controversial. That's why you do it. That's the whole point.
Sure.
So you know you're wrong.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there are levels to wrongness. There is a level to what is appropriate and how much you can push the line. And sometimes you got to come right up to the line and push it and then see what the response is. And obviously that's what they did. I don't
Yeah.
think that they had any kind of intellectual thought behind, like, we're going to, you know, they're not stand-up comedians, you know, pushing the
Right,
fucking
right.
moral line or
Fingers
anything.
on the pulse of comedy. Yeah.
So-
and I think it's important to say I really doubt they were trying to hurt anybody with the naming of this
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
You know, I don't think they're out here trying to be predatory or whatever. But I think it was a, you know, not a name to name your beer
Yeah.
in 2022.
Yeah, it was
So-
it's just a boneheaded decision. I just don't want to think too deeply about it as like I mean, I guess we have the luxury of not thinking too deeply about it. But
We rarely do.
but yeah, I don't know. I don't think we're campaigning for people to not, you know, patronize the
No,
the
absolutely
place,
not.
but-
We're not canceling Wops Hops. I'm sure we'll be back there at some point. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm about to go out to Sanford now. Maybe I'll pop in and see how things are going.
Where's the Wop?
See, I got a bone to pick with him.
Marco, we're in Toughies. Stop saying that.
Where is he? All right.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. This was
Yeah.
the latest post as of this recording.
Sure.
So we'll see if they come back with something else, if they rename the place, if it gets burned to the ground. Who knows?
Pitchforks.
If there's like a picket line out there, I'll let you guys know. I'm going to be out there. So,
Yeah.
all right. Next things next. What we have to do is deliver the news that most of you probably already know, but some of you may be living under a rock. Some of you may not have the streaming service. Some of you may have moved on and don't give a fuck. But Netflix, the powerhouse that it is, or maybe was. Last week we kind of dipped our toes in and just said that, you know, we would get back to you guys on this. But I'm sure most of you are aware of the, I mean, borderline price gouging at this point
Yeah.
of Netflix, and the fact that they lost 200,000 subscribers in the first quarter. The rumor was that they were anticipating losing 2 million more by the second quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I read an article that refuted that wasn't something that they said officially.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't have the article on hand. So
Sure.
maybe they did, maybe they didn't. We know for sure that they are anticipating losing like a lot of subscribers.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's 2 million, excuse me, but
It's been reported, and this is according to The Conversation. I don't know if that's a reputable site or not. Take it with a grain of salt.
it looks nice.
It looks nice. Yeah, it looks real.
Mm-hmm.
This article by Oliver Eklund. They did lose 200,000 subscribers for the first quarter of 2022.
Yeah. So we
So
do know that.
We
for
know
sure.
that for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, well there's actually a link to apparently that what you said about them losing
2 million.
yeah, potentially. So
What they're anticipating.
right. So
That's a lot of words.
Too many words. Too many words, guys.
That's
Sorry.
too much.
TechCrunch, cut it out. Mm-hmm. Give me a video.
Who do you think
okay?
you are? With the times.
How about you crunch these words a little bit? Okay. But anyway, so
Crunch these words.
even if they didn't officially say that, that's sort of the the blood in the water that we're seeing with Netflix, and I feel like everyone is kind of rooting for them to fail at this point.
Yeah.
And that's because of a lot of really boneheaded decisions that they've made as
Yeah.
of recent. I mean, this is a long time coming. A lot of people were complaining about them kind of spreading themselves too thin and allowing some projects that, were, even if they were successful to a smaller degree, but showed promise, outright canceling them before they had a chance to like get the legs underneath them.
Rest in peace, Altered Carbon.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Some would say Cowboy Bebop.
Some. I think
Some.
I think that some is the cast of the show.
Steve.
And Steve, yeah. Sorry, Steve. The show sucked. Yeah, and not only that, but then delivering a budget astronomical in comparison to some of these other shows to things that like you just don't. It just like, so that's where all the money's going.
Yeah. And now, I mean, it seems to be coming around not only on a PR standpoint, but like a financial one, where they're. Sorry,
I hope that shows up on camera.
There's a fly, gnat.
Got him.
Thank you. But it's now. Thank you. So strong, so strong.
I'm a big scary man.
Yeah. It's now starting to bite them in the butt to the point where they're now canceling a lot of their animated features, which is making a lot of people angry too.
They're just cutting the budget where they can basically trim in the fat, even if it's not like fat in the sense of the word when it comes to creativity.
Yeah, it's weird. I somehow ended up in animator Twitter.
Yeah.
I think it's just based on like one or two people I follow that happen to be like deep into animator Twitter.
It's funny how you can like, dive into that end of the pool and you're looking around like, where the fuck
am I? These people have really strong opinions about animation.
These things that I never would have thought twice about.
Yeah.
This person is passionate about.
Super passionate. Yeah.
And got a lot of traction with some of these tweets.
They really do. I'm not mad at it.
No.
But yeah, so I found myself in that realm, that dark realm of Twitter.
Yeah.
And they are livid with Netflix, saying it's undervaluing like this legitimate expression of art and all these things. And, I think rightfully so.
Yeah. How can you not feel that way as an animator? How can you not feel like, why would I sell anything to Netflix, or why would I be a part of a Netflix show when at any moment they could just go, your worth is not worth the sacrifice.
Well, and
Stranger Things is, your fucking bullshit is not.
Well, and I think it was a slap in the face, especially after years and years of the Oscars not respecting them either.
Yeah.
So I think this is just yet another kind of rallying cry for the animation crowd.
Well, once you find out the budget of Stranger Things, for instance, you got to look around and be like, the fuck is going on?
Double-digit millions per episode.
$30 million. $30 million per episode.
Incredible.
I mean, bro, it doesn't even... that show better... this shit better look like... Because the thing is, there are some shows that get produced today that don't look as good as the X-Files back in the 90s. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like... The creative choice, you can have a budget of $150 million, but if your creative choices like don't match that budget, it's like it doesn't even fucking matter.
Sure.
Some of these shows back in the day, they had to work with what they could and made gold or diamonds rather out of coal.
Yeah.
Because they had to.
That's been a major talking point with the newest like Marvel shows and stuff, like where they're saying they're relying too much on the CG and not applying it correctly. And it's been these shows have been looking worse and worse for the wearer because they're just not using it in a strategic manner because they're given just a boatload of money and saying, go on, do something with it. And not only that, but I think there's this kind of knee-jerk reaction to having a Marvel property, and either it's coming from on high and someone is telling them, look, you got to make it really big.
Yeah.
Or it's just this inherent thing with having a Marvel property that you just can't resist, having a giant action set piece when you don't quite have the budget for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind, obviously, is Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Like the car chase scene I think it's episode 1 or 2.
I think it's the first episode.
Yeah, like everyone was clowning on that
Yeah.
chase scene because of the bad CG.
Yeah.
And like I liked it.
Well,
I
it's
thought it was
a car chase
cool.
scene. Why does there need to be any CG? Make it a practical car chase.
Right. Spend the money on
Yeah.
practical car chase. But instead, it was fully CG. There's so much of it that looks like it's just done on a green screen set.
Well, the irony of Moon Knight being the show that like a lot of people are criticizing for this is that some scenes in the show are really, really well done and very tastefully and artfully done. And then they're juxtaposed with like just slapdash and just
Yeah.
of you could tell just money was thrown at it. And it's like, man, this isn't really well balanced because
Sure.
sometimes you're watching it and you're like, wow, that was a very cool scene that they did. That was very, and Oscar Isaac, I mean, he's the fucking man.
Ethan Hawke too.
The guy can't do any wrong.
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke for sure.
Yeah.
Those two, come on, man. They're just so
Power duo.
it is funny because you watch the show and you go, I know that you're capable of doing better with this.
Yeah.
I know, and Moon Knight is a character that they could do, like they could get really weird and really creative with, and instead
Sure.
it seems like sometimes they're resting on their laurels of like being an MCU show and being able to just, put that front and center and go, what are you going to do? Are you not going to watch this?
Sure.
Sit
It's
down.
mandatory
You
viewing.
sit down and you watch the show.
Canon show.
Okay. Is it canon?
It's
kind
canon. There will be one element that you can point out in the next MCU movie.
Someone will reference this.
Yeah.
Do you want to miss the reference? No, I don't want to miss the reference.
I need the reference.
Then shut up, baby.
Slap. Yeah. So, anyway.
I like that bit. We have to do more with that. I like that.
Anyway.
Yeah, so they to get back to Netflix.
Sure.
They lost 200,000 subscribers. Rumor has it they're anticipating they're anticipating losing 2 million subscribers. And people, like you said, are kind of championing this, and they're happy about it because Netflix, when you go to Netflix nowadays, what do you watch on Netflix?
I couldn't even tell you at this point. Yeah, I mean, most of my streaming's on Disney Plus and HBO
And why?
because they have better shows, better content, better movies.
Just objectively, they just
Yeah.
have better content.
Overall, better.
Netflix is producing things like weird reality TV, like dating show, like MTV level dating shows.
Well, it's all, and I know we've touched on this before, but it's all just for the lowest common denominator. They know that's what makes money generally,
right.
But I think that landscape is changing a little bit, and it seems like it's shifting.
Well, Netflix is always. I remember reading like years ago when Beasts of No Name, the Idris Elba movie that came out.
Yeah.
I remember reading an article where someone from Netflix was like,
Or
because
no country.
Beasts of No Nation. Beasts of No
Nation. Yes, we got there.
Excuse me. I remember because people were like, it just got snubbed for an Oscar, at least a nomination, and this was way back when the Academy was like, the fuck is a streaming service?
Streaming.
We're not who are these people? So when that happened, basically Netflix, the entire plan, once Netflix destroyed Blockbuster, their entire plan was to become a channel, not a streaming service. They want to be a thing that produces things that you can just go to Netflix, the channel, and watch reality TV shows, then movies, then cartoons. Like, you can have family-friendly affair, and then you can watch your drama when you put the kids to bed, and then your teens can watch their bullshit reality TV shows. Like,
We really hate teen dramas.
oh man, dude.
Don't get started.
Yeah, exactly. So their whole thing was to be a thing that produced stuff, not just a thing that. So that's why you go on there, and first of all, you can't watch any of your favorite movies because they're like, we're not going to carry those. We want you to watch Netflix shows. You watch a movie like fucking, I don't know, you watch Top Gun, and then they're like, oh, you like Top Gun? You might like this dating show that we produced. And it's like, what are you talking about? What do you, why would you, what?
Yeah.
So that's been their whole thing. But the problem is they've been choosing to produce shows that like you're saying, like the landscape is changing. Why would you produce that show? Why wouldn't you take a chance on this weirder thing that people are like? They gave 3 seasons to Dark. And every time I talk to somebody about Dark, they're like, "Oh, it's the greatest thing I've ever watched in my entire life. It's one of the best shows ever." Or if I have, because I haven't watched it yet, but anytime I ask somebody like, "Well, what are you watching on Netflix?" and they have seen Dark, they're like, "It's the greatest thing ever."
Yeah, it's just one of those shows.
Why not spend money on that stuff? $30 million for Stranger Things?
Yeah,
And those kids are in their 40s now. $30 million for what?
Yeah.
Man, I cannot wait for that season to come out because I need to see with my own eyes what $30 million looks like.
What that buys on screen per episode.
So, I mean, and you know, like you said, you moved on to different streaming services because they're producing better content and they just have stored on their better content. So it's like,
yeah, well, and you know, the thing that really preceded this open hatred for Netflix was the fact that they're talking about, and I think actively pursuing, limiting the amount of subscribers, the amount of logins on each subscriber's account.
oh yeah, of course we have to talk about that password sharing.
I mean, that's been the biggest. That's been
It's been.
that's been the biggest sort of headline just before this epic meltdown of Netflix's subscribers. They obviously have to do with each other. Like there's no way these two things aren't connected.
Right. Absolutely.
So I think this should show Netflix, don't do that. It's not worth it.
But I don't think that Netflix is in the business of giving a fuck what people think. I don't know, man. Unless they change directions soon,
Yeah.
I just don't see them. I see them like going down with the ship. Like it looks like when you see the moves that they make. Because first of all, you raise the price on anything, and people are gonna go, okay, well, what am I paying for? Why am I paying more money for the thing? And then Netflix has to go, well, because we're producing more content and we need, you know. So it's like, okay, what am I paying for though? Like, show me what I'm paying for. And then they go, here's a show where people are blind and they date each other. We'll call it Blind Date. I don't know if that's a real thing. I think that's a real thing.
No, well, there's Love is Blind.
Is that what I'm talking about?
That's one where they just don't see each other.
Yeah, they
actually
don't.
Blind.
Right. Man, it would be so much better if they were actually blind. And also inclusive if they were actually blind.
Sure, yeah.
It's too bad. See, Netflix, you missed your opportunity to do something nice for different range of
the non-seeing
people.
folk.
The non-seeing folks. So so somebody like myself who doesn't watch reality TV shows at all. In fact, I hate them with a passion.
Except Fortune Fire.
I mean, of course.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't even call that a reality TV show. It's hard for me to even call that.
I guess it's more of a competition.
I like competition reality TV shows. Those are the only ones that any kind of like dramatic reality TV show or anything that's played up for, you know. So for me personally, you can't sell me on that. So what else are you doing? Well, we're producing movies. Okay, well, what movies are we doing? Well, we did like 6 movies with Ryan Reynolds. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. What else are we doing? Well, we did like 8 movies with Adam Sandler. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, what? Why would I keep this service in the first place?
Yeah.
Like, even at the base price, I'm like, do I really even need Netflix? Now you're charging me more so that I can watch 8 movies with Ryan Reynolds? Mm-hmm. Nothing against the man, but it's like, I'm kind of tired of the Ryan Reynolds shtick.
Well, and it's not only that, but to me, it's like they seem to focus on these huge ensemble, like, superstar movies.
Yeah.
With, like, Gal Gadot and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're all terrible.
Yeah, they're just bad
They're
movies.
so bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you did something with those actors, fine. But it seems like all these things are like haphazardly slapped together out of the algorithm. And suddenly they present it to you on a plate like, this is what you want, right? This is what you want? Yeah, right?
Please.
Yeah?
This is what you want?
You like these people,
Don't you like these people?
Um,
I'm looking at the critical reception of the Atom Project with his latest,
right.
the 2022 Netflix produced Ryan Reynolds movie.
Excuse me.
Ugh, gross.
Oof.
I know. It's sitting at a 68% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 55% on Metacritic. So middling reviews. I'm sure that it did really well because it's Ryan Reynolds. But
and honestly, that was one of the higher rated of those big star-led projects.
what was the Gal Gadot movie called? Something Notice? Not Burn Notice.
Red Notice. I think.
Yeah, it was Red Notice. Shouldn't be called that either. It's too close to Burn Notice.
It's true.
36% on Rotten Tomatoes, 37% on Metacritic. Now, that is obviously not like a exact science, but you know what Rotten Tomatoes is. I don't have to explain this to you.
Sure.
You know what it means when a movie is sitting at 36%? It's dog shit.
Yeah.
Okay?
Usually.
Most of the time. Not every time. Most of the time.
Well, that's the first thing that came to mind when I just saw this recently reported new movie on Netflix called The Gray Man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Russo brothers.
It's the Russo brothers movie, which...
They can do spy movies.
They can, but have they?
They did Winter Soldier.
Have they since?
Have they since? No.
What have you done for me
What have you
lately? Is
Yeah.
my question, my friend. Because from what I know, the Russo brothers haven't made anything of, note since.
Didn't they do Endgame?
Yes, I'm saying
Okay, you're
since
saying
their
since the
MCU
Marvel
run.
stuff.
Yes,
Okay,
outside
right,
of the
right.
Marvel stuff.
Right,
It seems like,
yeah.
I mean, they've worked as producers, which has been cool. They actually produced Everything Everywhere All at Once,
Which you had very high praise for.
I still want to. I want to take a moment on every episode while it's still in theaters and beyond to let you know you should watch Everything Everywhere All at Once, please. But yeah, this movie, it has Ryan Reynolds. Excuse me, Ryan Gosling.
A better Ryan.
Wow.
I'll go to bat for Gosling over Reynolds for sure. You kidding me? You want to do this? You think Reynolds better than Gosling?
My only critique here is that I feel like Reynolds is a better comedic actor. Gosling,
I don't know if I would even go that far, honestly.
Gosling's more charming.
I think Gosling's comedic chops are underrated.
He's a better actor, I'll
He's
say,
for sure a
overall.
better actor.
Definitely. So, I mean, okay,
Crazy
listen.
Stupid Love would like to have a word with you about his comedic timing.
Yes, I know. And he was great on SNL, too.
And I was gonna say the new guys, not the new guys or the other guys, but the something guys with Russell Crowe.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what do you mean? Of course, that's what I'm saying. Like fucking.
All right, fine.
I'm just
Fine.
saying. What are your examples? Ryan Reynolds playing Ryan Reynolds for the 1,000th time.
That's fine.
People
Look,
always
look,
like, oh, he's perfect in Deadpool. Yeah, of course he was. He played himself again.
He's playing the one guy he always plays.
He played fucking Van Wilder. He's just been Van Wilder for his entire career.
That's who he is.
He's just himself.
Right. Which is great. I'm not trying to disparage him.
Yes, I know this tone sounds like I don't hate Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
I like Ryan Reynolds a lot. I think he's great.
Sure.
But I also am like, we get it.
He's really good at one thing.
Yes,
and that's
yes,
okay.
Yes,
that's okay.
He's like Ray Allen, man. He's like or late career Ray Allen. Just chucking up threes. Is he gonna knock him down? Of course he is. He has the perfect form.
Sure.
Can he do anything else? Not really. Not Heat. Not Miami
great.
Heat. Ray Allen.
Not Miami Heat. Ryan Reynolds. That's for sure.
Seattle Supersonics. Ray Allen for sure.
Yeah. You're aging yourself.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, we've come to the agreement. Gosling is the superior Ryan.
Yeah.
Chris Evans and Ana de Armas.
I say Chris Pine is the better Chris too. You want to do that? We can do it later. Let's talk. We'll talk later about like the best Chris,
Okay,
the
yeah.
best Ryan. I think Chris Pine's the best Chris.
Yeah. Well, according to the internet, Chris Pratt's dead.
Yeah, he's the worst Chris apparently.
Sure.
You know, we defended him,
We did.
and I stand on that.
Oh, absolutely. I feel good about it. I'm glad we did.
Yeah. And then did you see James Gunn jump in there? One of those tweets that went viral that was like, just replace him with Patrick Wilson, which again, like Patrick Wilson.
Oh, yeah, I saw that tweet.
I love Patrick Wilson for two reasons. I think he's fantastic in everything that he does.
Sure.
And it's so funny that he is just this nondescript white dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy
Yeah.
how if I saw him on the street, I'd be like, and I'd let him walk by
I know
for
you from
miles
somewhere.
before I was like, Patrick Wilson? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's, yeah. And that tweet, it was basically like, hear me out, Hollywood. Just replace him. Just replace Chris Pratt with Patrick Wilson, which, you know, obviously doesn't really work on a lot of levels.
No.
But James Gunn jumped in and was like, why? Because of like your made up hatred of the guy.
Sure.
None of you even fucking know him.
Yeah.
And you jump in here and you're like, yo, you want him to be replaced? And he's like, yeah, go. I like what James said. He was like, go ahead and replace him. Watch what happens. We all will leave with him.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you don't know him.
Yeah. He's from all accounts a great guy in person. And
you know, he's a troubling past with his religion, but you know what white person doesn't? You know? I don't know. Yeah. Most of them do. I'd say like, you know, most religious white people, most religions in general,
people, yeah.
You know, troubling things that you have to come to grips with those people.
There are elements, and I would dare say every religion, that are problematic. So,
Yeah.
do not throw stones in a glass house, if you will.
That's what they say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So this, what did you want to say about this?
Well, just that this seems like another one of those cookie cutter action movies that they slapdash together.
Yeah.
They get, you know, on an ensemble that should make perfect sense,
Yeah.
right? This should be gold. This should make perfect sense. This should be an awesome spy thriller.
Yeah.
And I just have zero faith. I
Yeah.
have zero faith in this panning out. Now, mind you, I could be eating my words, and I hope that I do. But Netflix has proven time and time again they cannot be trusted.
Yeah. So we're sitting here and we're watching Netflix produce these shows, spend all this exuberant amount of money on these different things, and you have no faith in them, right? So now you're being charged more money for a producer that you have no confidence in, and you just have to watch these things get made, and then you know it's fascinating, really, to watch as Netflix kind of goes down with the ship.
Sure.
Because I just really believe that they have to change directions on this, either the password sharing thing or they're not gonna not raise prices. That's just gonna happen.
That's been proven time and time again.
But the password sharing thing, they have to take a step back on that. It's crazy. Like one person pointed out, millions of people probably pointed this out, but I saw one tweet about it where they were basically like, what's wrong? There's an issue with 5 people sharing the password in one household, but if 2 people share it in a different household, that's all of a sudden that's a problem.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. It's an arbitrary thing where you're like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
You guys are the ones who are facilitating this. You guys, Netflix they're the ones who went in and said, go ahead and create multiple profiles for people. How is that not telling people that it's okay to do this?
Yeah,
Then to turn around and be like, you sons of bitches, how dare you?
Right. Well, I turned to wise words that I got from my manager back in the day when I was with an agency, and we were all complaining about, you know, not getting some perk at work, right? It was either to be able to leave early on a Friday or something, or being able to work from home on Fridays. This is, you know, obviously pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic.
You know, was talking to my manager, and we were talking about that specifically. I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. Why don't we just do it? It makes perfect sense. Like, we're all in agreement. We can all get our work done, yada, yada, yada. And he goes, well, look, let me tell it to you this way. It's like, basically, it's a Pandora's box situation. Once we allow this to happen, it is forever. We cannot put the genie back, right? It is so easy to give allowances for things. It's so easy to give more benefits, perks, et cetera, et cetera. It is nearly impossible to take those away once you've given them. I mean, it is a nightmare to try to take rights and benefits away, which is what we're seeing now in most every workplace that's now returning to work.
Yeah, I mean, my argument would be, why would you want to take those things away from people?
Well,
if you have been able to find it in your infrastructure as a business to be able to afford to do those things for people, that's it.
Sure.
Now you're able to do them.
Yeah.
Why would you ever take them away?
Well, that's exactly the point, and that's why there's so much animosity towards both, employers and Netflix now, because we've been allowed to do this for so long, without a peep.
And how much has it hurt their bottom line? They're producing a show for $30 million an episode. You got the money. Why are you coming after us?
Because they need more. Because apparently they're losing out.
Need more.
They're losing out. So I bring that up just to say, I feel like that's the exact situation we're going through right now with Netflix, where they're like, we're hurting now, so we need to start adding things up to make our bottom line a little better.
Yeah.
And in doing that, they actually hurt their bottom line even more. So, I think it's a sage wisdom to learn that you can't just take things away.
Yeah.
You just can't. You can't do it.
Yeah. Well, you can't give people things and then take them
Sure.
away, for sure.
And that's it. You have to be very careful about sort of the limitations you set and allowances you give, because if you give them, you got to keep giving them, because you can't change that unless you're making it better.
Well, we will see. I don't have very high hopes for what's about to happen to Netflix or to the consumer base. Sure. I am one of those password sharers. And so if I lose...
We all are.
No. I'm saying I'm one of the people that like...
Oh, okay. You're a sharee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So if it comes to pass that they're just like, nah, you have to live with this person, it's just like, all right, well then I'm just not going to use Netflix anymore. That's
Guess
really,
I'm moving in.
That person doesn't live. They live very far away. So, I mean, I just don't. There's not enough content on there that is even worth the ticket price. So, if they were to take away my access to Netflix, I just be like, all right, peace, motherfucker. I'm paying for other shit that like is worth the money.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
I think that's the general consensus, because, I mean, the only thing I can see working out is if they don't allow that. Strangely enough, this is like an Amazon situation where it just feels better to have free shipping even if the price is higher.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the situations where, like, even if they hike the price up a little bit more and don't do this, lockdown of your profile, I think that's going to be better than if they were to offer a cheaper option.
Oh, we haven't even talked about the ad supported cheaper option.
Yeah.
We don't have time.
No.
We don't have time.
Yeah.
Just know that they are debating on creating an ad-supported, cheaper option.
A broke-ass
Netflix.
version.
Yeah, exactly. The iPhone cheap, if you will. The plastic one where you're like, this ain't really the iPhone, right?
Yeah.
I cannot imagine watching Netflix with ads.
No,
it would be
no.
upsetting. Yeah. The entire point of Netflix was content at the tip of your fingers, no ads,
Right.
no breaks, just watching your shows.
We're losing out
It's
on the benefit.
Crazy that we've gotten to this point in society.
You can tell in society.
Society.
You can tell that they're believing their own shit at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Because I mean, I can just put myself in that boardroom where they're like, of course they're willing to watch commercials now. We make some of the greatest original content.
Yeah. Oh, dude, they must be feeling themselves so much with the movies that they made and the shows that they're probably just like, well, why wouldn't they sit through I mean, fuck them. You know, they need to sit through an ad. We got to pay for this shit.
Hulu does it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're better than Hulu. No, you're not. Hulu at least is showing like network TV
Sure.
shows that people still want. You don't get to come behind the networks.
There's live TV on Hulu too, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hulu has live sports.
There you
Probably
go.
not the sports that you want to watch, but
That commercial seeped into my
yeah.
medulla oblongata.
Uh-huh. All right. Running out of time here. And we need to talk about Doctor Strange.
Okay.
I mean, we don't need to talk about it, but
Someone has to.
somebody has
Please.
to address this.
Yeah.
So, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse
Of madness.
One of the most hotly anticipated Marvel movies and just movies in general. It's coming very, very, very soon. We've been seeing a lot of trailers about it. In fact, they released the final trailer very recently. I didn't sit through the whole thing because I'm like, I don't need to. I didn't
even bother watching it.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm gonna watch it.
It's coming out next week. Just wait.
There you go. Apparently, there are queer elements in this movie.
Uh-huh.
And some countries that are a little behind the times didn't have very kind things to feel or say about these things. And
Sure.
so they wanted Disney to basically edit out these elements. And so...
I wonder why they would think that Disney would do such a thing.
Right. Strangely, an entire country would be like, you're going to edit that out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Disney was like, not this time. Not this time.
Uh-huh.
We're taking a stand this time.
Yeah.
Because Disney, spoiler alert, in the past has been very, very lax on things like that. Probably thinking that people wouldn't notice. Because, if you're in America, who gives a shit what Saudi Arabia is watching or what China is watching? China.
Huge.
But given the current state of affairs and given the current state of Disney's affairs,
Yes.
they had a vested interest at this point.
Right. You're welcome from Florida.
Uh-huh. To finally take a stand. Disney's finally taken a stand.
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons why sometimes when you hear like conspiracy theorists or like people on the right or like just people who like have shitty opinions in general,
Okay.
when they say things, when not everybody on the right has shitty opinions. I'm sorry, that was worded poorly.
Uh-huh.
Most of them do, but not all of them.
We just lost one subscriber.
But when they say things like, Disney's this liberal company, this left-leaning company,
Sure.
But they're all just businessmen. They're all full of shit. They're all just doing.
Yeah.
That's when you sometimes you're like, I can't argue with that because
I'm sorry, but it's true.
yes.
It's absolutely true. It's been proven time and time again. I mean, the thing that I always point to is the fact that they couldn't have a Star Wars poster with a black character on it.
Yeah.
Like that just is a sucker punch for anyone who ever thought Disney had the right intentions in mind. It shows you what they truly value, which is money.
Finn was front and center in the trailers. He's the first thing that you see.
Yeah.
When the Force Awakens came out, he's the first person that you see. And yet this person can't be on the movie trailer.
No, and there's a lot of speculation that I can't help but believe to some degree that his character was supposed to be the real hero of this entire thing.
Yeah.
And was sidelined for a white lady instead.
And a white man.
And a white man.
Because she, Rey, she gets her shit, but she gets her shit off. But also Kylo, he gets his shit off.
Sure.
If you're
But Kylo was a good character, so
Kylo is a good character. Rey's a good character too. She's just written in a way that like you're just like, man, this is so obvious You know, there's no
Yeah.
subtlety.
It's
There's no
boring.
nuance with this character. It's just so obviously done to like, hey, look, now you have a woman Jedi that we can make toys and we can sell, and it's like, man, you could have just done this in a way that was like natural and felt real.
Yeah, and the mystery kind of sucks. It's just boring. I don't know.
Oh, she's related to Palpatine.
I like the meme of them always going back to Oscar Isaac saying somehow Palpatine survived or whatever the line
Because
was.
it's so stupid.
They're like, what?
I think he says somehow Palpatine's back.
Yeah. Like,
And you're like,
that's where we're going. Oh man.
Because it's just like exemplifies the effort that they put into making that make sense.
I'm glad we were drunk for that movie because it made it so
Dude,
much better.
We were so. When I rewatched it,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't remember any of this. I had such a good time the first
Yeah.
time I watched it.
Oh, I tuned in on all the best parts, and I left the movie going, "That was
That movie
awesome."
rocked.
That was
awesome.
incredible.
I went back and watched it again, and I was like, "Yo, this movie sucks! I can't believe I like this." When I watched,
Yeah.
but I can't. I was hammered.
Sure.
Excuse me. So Disney took a stand and said, no, we will not edit out those LGBTQ plus elements of this movie because we are taking a stand. We are Disney, and we represent for the people that can't represent for themselves.
Sure.
We are fighting for those that can't fight for themselves. We
Yeah.
are the voice
Yeah.
for the voiceless.
Yeah.
As long as it lines our pockets.
You're right.
I am convinced that some of these companies, like Disney, if they knew that they could make millions, billions of dollars producing quote unquote right wing content, they would do it at the drop of a hat.
Oh, sure.
The fact of the matter is, you're not going to make $500 million with a movie starring Gina Carano. Because it just ain't.
Yeah.
This is not the way that people. That's not the shit that people want to watch. But if they did,
James Woods
exactly,
starring in.
dude. Do you really think that Disney is taking an actual political stance on anything that doesn't
Absolutely not.
line their pockets? That doesn't make sure that the money train keeps rolling?
Yeah.
This whole thing with the "Don't Say Gay" bill.
That's not what it's called.
They had ample opportunity to step up and do something about it. Not until their employees, their fucking everybody had to be like, "What are you doing? Why are you?" And then finally, somebody said that it was like a case study in ineptitude
Yeah.
because not only did they wait
They
until the
downplayed
most
it.
inopportune moment to say something, they downplayed it for a while.
Yeah.
They finally did something about it when it was too late. And then when they finally said something about it, they waited so long that not only did the bill pass, but now Florida legislature is coming after them
Yeah.
for not backing them up.
Right.
So not only
And raising our taxes.
are they facing the consequences of speaking up, but they're facing even more consequences because they spoke up too late.
They got their worst case scenario.
Exactly.
Right.
They couldn't have handled it worse.
And it's because they sat on the fence.
Right.
And that should be a lesson to everyone who sits on the fence on issues.
Right.
You have to side with something. Educate yourself. Figure out what's best for you or your company. And then sit, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
You can't sit on the fence. You got to
Or-
find a way.
Or keep your fucking mouth shut.
Sure, that's an option too.
Yeah. I mean, if they had just, shut the fuck up about the whole thing, yeah, people would be upset. They'd say, oh, you didn't do anything, blah, blah, blah,
Right.
blah. And then the shit would subside. And all those people who were upset, they probably wouldn't support Disney anymore. But think about, in the long run.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think they're too big to have just gone on mute.
I don't think so.
I think so because I think there was so much chatter about it. Because it was one of those things that people dug up about where Disney's money was going, and then it was one of the things. It was just like what happened.
Yeah, but we people know this, and it hasn't stopped. And the Disney Plus from being one of the we have Disney Plus. We watch it all the time. We know where that money's going. It's not. You know what I mean? It's
sure. Well, I was gonna say it's just like what happened with Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
People are upset about it, understandably so. It's
Chick-fil-A.
It sucks that that's where the money is going to some degree, but
You know how many gay people I know who go, I still eat a
I still
Chick-fil-A.
eat Chick-fil-A. Yeah. I mean, listen, man. You're celebrating, or you're separating art from artists.
Well, yeah, it seems like it's very convenient. People know how to do that when it's in their best interest.
Sure.
Like, I'm not going to give up chicken sandwiches so I can separate the art from the artist.
I think that there was just such a swell. Like
I'm a
ground
Wendy's
swell.
guy, by the way. I did give up Chick-fil-A.
Really?
If somebody buys it for me, I'm
Yeah,
not going to be
yeah.
like, "Bleh."
I still eat Chick-fil-A.
But I haven't been there in a long time. Is it a political stance or is it convenience? I'll let you decide. There's just not a Chick-fil-A around me.
One is open on Sundays. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, open it up on Sundays. You might have a different crowd showing up. Maybe atheist Sundays, and it's
Yeah.
just for all the
They only
all the
sell,
non-believers.
They only sell spicy chicken sandwiches.
yeah, because that's where you're going.
Yeah. Get used to it.
It's gonna be hot where you're going.
But yeah, I think there was just such a groundswell because this was something that wasn't newly discovered, but I think for a lot of people was unveiled for the first time that this is where the money's going. Well, you saw us have went Publix too. A lot of these big companies, because they have so much money invested and are so into sort of this, I don't want to say just like free market, but like are into fewer taxes. They tend to lean right.
Yeah.
Because that's generally a conservative viewpoint.
But if you're already donating that kind of money to those things, I mean, first of all, do you really think that that's going to stay secret forever? And second of all, you're already kind of playing your hand. You're already kind of showing your hand on that.
Sure.
So, like, what difference does it make if you come out later and go, our bad? Like, well, you already donated the millions of dollars.
Sure.
So
I think specifically Disney, this is the biggest company that I can remember being called out for this in recent history. I think this is a reckoning of sorts that is going to have a lot of companies starting to look into their investments and see if they can handle a situation that, involves this kind of negative PR. Yeah. And because I think that if Disney were to have just stayed silent, and let's say the new MCU movie comes out, I think there would be enough of a backlash that would hit them in the pocket. I do think there would have been. They couldn't have just ignored this for long because their sort of facade is so LGBTQ plus friendly. There's gay days at Disney World,
yeah.
It's so ingrained in Disney being the happiest place on earth that if there's any crack in that facade, I feel like it kind of ruins the entire thing. So them specifically as a company that they could obviously blow through this like nothing because they have billions upon billions of dollars.
Yeah.
But would it hurt them? Yeah, I think it would have.
I disagree. And I'll say that we'll find out when these next couple of movies come out how much it really affects their bottom line.
We'll see if they stand their ground against China. Because they're a far bigger audience than Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
So if China has an issue with any of this, we'll see where their priorities really stand.
Exactly. And I'm going to tell you right now, I really don't feel like Disney is going to stand 10 toes against China. I just don't see it.
I think they have to. I
just don't see
in
it.
for a penny, in for a pound at this point. I think they have to stand by, their new standards.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they're going to fucking fold.
Okay. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, there's only one. We have to play the waiting game on this because we have to find out like how Doctor Strange does, how Thor does, and like you said, how they're gonna handle it when China decides like we don't want to see that shit either. So we'll get back to you guys on that. Maybe another recap. But I think we got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
But before we do that, you know what we have to do? It's week in, it's week out. We have to big up the people doing cool shit or maybe just cool things in general.
Sure.
It's time for the cheers of the week. Obi, Who's your cheers of the week?
My cheers of the week is Stephen King.
All right. Different.
I say that because I just recently finished the novel of The Shining.
The Shining.
Which is obviously a stone cold classic of a film. But I had long heard that Stephen King absolutely hated Kubrick's movie.
Yes.
So Kubrick's movie.
Kubrick's movie.
I had the novel. It was staring me in the face, and I felt like it was the right time to get into it. So I did, and I what I've been doing recently with books I've been reading is I've been pairing it with the audio book, so I can kind of double team it. So when I'm driving to work, for instance, or I'm on lunch, or I'm at the gym, I can get through a few chapters, then I get home, and then I'll actually read.
Yeah.
So highly recommend that for anyone who's busy.
I like that. How do you so what do you do? Like you're on your way to work or you're on your way to the store or whatever, you get like maybe a page or two in, then when you get to the crib you just find what page you left off at, and then you fast forward when you get back in the car. Is that what you do?
Pretty much, yeah. Well,
okay.
I try to make it easy on myself, and I'll like stop at a chapter so I can find the chapter and be good to go from there.
Right.
Or if I'm reading, I will get to the end of a chapter and be like, okay, I'm stopping here, and I'll pick it up on the on Audible next time. So I can't believe I'm saying this right now, but I prefer the novel. It's wildly different, especially towards the end.
Yes, I haven't read the novel, but I heard that Kubrick took a lot of liberties.
He did. But I think for anyone who's seen the movie but not read the book, I think it's one of those that like there's enough in the book that's completely different that it's worth a read. Yeah. It's not one of those that you're like, yeah, I know what's going to happen next and all that. So very, if you've read Stephen King, you know what to expect.
Yeah.
Very well written characters, a lot of spooky moments.
Moments from Kubrick.
I really, really enjoyed it. So I can not recommend it enough. Check out the Stephen King classic, The Shining. I'm now reading Dr. Sleep because it's a sequel.
Nice.
So, yeah.
I love it. That's great. Great cheers. My cheers of the week is going to, and if you know me, if you know this show, you kind of have to expect it, Pusha T.
Of course.
Pusha T, Push a Ton, released his newest album, It's Almost Dry, coming off of his 2018 coke rap masterpiece, Daytona. This album is 12 tracks split down the middle between Pharrell and Kanye West producing. And I will say the production, you can tell it's pretty obvious who's producing what, and it's a little jarring because like it kind of feels like the mood goes back and forth, and it's kind of obvious. So if there was
like a tennis match, like
yes,
they lob it over to each other
for sure,
back to back.
And if I could say that there was if I could criticize it in any way, it would be that the production is a little not inconsistent because all the beats are dope, but like kind of weird.
Yeah, flow wise.
But as far as the songs, lyrically, thematically, I think it Pusha T. I mean, he honestly could rap about cocaine and wealth and just luxury rap for the rest of his life, as long as he continues. And my thing was, I wouldn't say that I was worried, but I was like, I just wonder how he's gonna top Daytona because it was such a tight, concise. It's 7 songs, and it's like, I mean, what more? I've said to people who ask me about it, it's like 7 tracks is perfect. I don't know how much longer you can talk about one thing and still make it hot. And then he turned around and he proved me wrong because obviously is enough to first of all, continue sustaining his career, but second of all, making another album that is arguably better than Daytona. I'm still kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think you can make an argument that it's his best project. It's one of the best projects of the year. He wasn't lying when he said it would be a contender for album of the year. It's firmly in my top 5 right now. We're going to see what happens with the rest of the year. because there's some cool projects coming out. Tori Moi's coming out in a couple days, actually. So that should be fun. See if that's the best album of the year collectively.
Well, and you've already talked about Orville. And
Yes, Orville Peck is definitely in there for sure. I'm actually keeping a list.
Okay, good, yeah. I've meant to, but I'll go back and do that myself because there have been some really, really great albums that have come out in the past couple months.
Yeah, I got the Drug Church album. Wet Leg was fantastic. You guys should listen to Wet Leg. Saba's new album, Currency's new album, and Pusha T's in there. It's like a couple more in there, and I'm gonna keep track of it. Oh, I said the Drug Church album. I said Drug Church. Yeah. So yeah, It's Almost Dry. It's out now. Go listen to that. It's hot. I'm gonna, as soon as I get in the car, probably gonna start it back up again.
Sure. Yeah.
So there you go.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the cheers. Here's the beers. Obi, what'd you think of the OEC Oak Fermented Brown Ale, their alt beer?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. Yeah, it's very well balanced, and that's what I've come to expect from OEC. You know, all of their beers so far have been, at very least, great. I would say. Yeah. And I feel like this goes right along that same line. For me, it's a 4.5. Light drinker, enough flavor to have you come back for more.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like over the top in any way, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just want a nice drinking German brown ale.
Yeah.
So hits the spot.
I am going to give it a 5. I think it's a great brown ale. I'd say the only thing that's keeping me from like bumping the score up even higher is that, I mean, it's great, but for the price, I mean, this thing was expensive. Yeah. I'm not going to, it's a good,
It's a factor. It's a fact.
It is a factor. And I am lucky enough to work at a bar, so I get them for, get it for the low. You know what I mean? But like if like retail, it's crazy for a 4-pack of this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like I don't know, I'm not going to tell anybody what to charge for their product, but what I will say is like does it justify that price? Not God, I feel like I'm insulting them. I don't want to like insult them for the price, but like
not at all. It's based on and this entire show review is based on your specific flavor palette. Yeah. So for someone else, it could absolutely justify the price. Yeah, this could be somebody's favorite beer.
Yeah, true. And I'm giving it a 5. Yeah, which is a high score on this show.
That is awesome.
So I'm not shitting on the beer. It's great. It's fantastic. I think it's light bodied, but still like flavor wise kind of complex. This is malty, kind of caramelly, little touch of sweetness. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't pay retail for this. There's just no way I would spend what I would have spent on a 4-pack.
Yeah.
So I guess that's really my critique.
It's a little bougie.
I wouldn't get it again because I would look at that price and go, no. Yeah. I'll just drink fucking Maduro.
Right.
Sure. Fuck that.
Oh, you're cheap. So.
Well.
I think the cool shit's
I think
better.
That's the pot calling the kettle black, right?
Well. Yeah, no, I would definitely pick the Cool Ship Lager over this one, personally. But good stuff.
Still in the OEC family.
Good stuff.
All right, a 4.5 for you, good sir, and a 5 for me. You think we got it?
I know we got it.
Well, then let's get the fuck out of here. This has been the One Beer In podcast for myself, Marco Dupa, for Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Yeah, boy.
Thank you guys for listening. Drink delicious beer and have a beautiful evening.
We love you.